Well, welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am a defense attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and today we're going to talk about Bob Vogel and his run-ins with the law in Ohio. What does this mean for him, and what we can figure out from what little information we have on hand? Now, for those of you who don't know who Bob Vogel is a former police officer who is now a world champion and has since um, been a world champion competitive shooter. He is a champion both in IPSC and USPSA. He has won all kinds of awards and competitions. He was on Top Shot one year, a couple years ago, when History Channel had their show. And he is a trainer. He trains law enforcement. He also trains private citizens. If you guys, he would be good for all those things to help you be better as a shooter. After what's going on right now, I understand people may not be on that train, but let's talk about what happened there for Bob. So Bob was booked into the Augalais, and that's how you pronounce that, the Augalais County Jail over the weekend. And he got charged with 6 different offenses there. And they don't look very good. And ultimately, those are just charges that he got booked in on. But what's really that matters most? Well, what matters most is the indictment. And the indictment, well, if you go ahead and ask the clerk of courts there for it, they will get you a copy. And I was able to get one myself. So what is Bob actually facing here? And I'm going to put these up as we go through them. So count 1 is pandering obscenities involving a minor. And the issue here is for count 1 that on or about February 6th of 2025, he did create, reproduce, or publish that material involving a minor. And it's a felony of the 2nd degree. Count 2 is that he did create, direct, or produce the performance involving a minor that was, once again, that was obscene. That is also a 2nd degree felony. Now, count 3 is the buying, procuring, possessing, or controlling of an obscene material involving a minor. That's a 4th degree felony. And before we get too far with all of that, count 3 is directly related to count 1 and count 2. If you're making what sounds like, and I know some of you are going to immediately think he's making cheese pizza. Regardless of what it is, if you are making that thing, you are likely probably using, this thing right here, your phone. And guess what? If you made it using your phone, guess what? It's on your phone. So now you're possessing the completed item. So that's why count 3 is pretty much part of what goes on with count 1 and count 2. Count 4 is disrupting public services. And we're going to get to what that is here. That is a 4th degree felony as well. And that occurred on February 7th of 2025. All right, real quick, guys, I forgot to record this earlier when I said I would get back to it. I never did. What this charge means is that somebody was trying to call 911. Normally, this happens in a domestic violence situation. Husband or boyfriend will take the phone away from wife or girlfriend, and they end up smashing the phone, throwing it out the window, hanging up on 911, doing anything at all to obstruct or impede the ability of the police to show up. And here, it sounds like Bob did that. Based on his statement, he says that 2 people were having a fight, and it sounds like he got in the middle of that. Now, once again, that there's not everything we know here, and there's a lot left we have to speculate on, but it doesn't look good for Bob. It doesn't put him in a good light that he's interfering with the police, being called himself a former law enforcement official. But that's what count 4 is based on. Why are we seeing some of these on the 6th and some of these on the 7th? I kind of get the feeling this all might have happened like over the course of a night and something happened. So they think some of it happened on the 6th, some of it happened on the 7th. It doesn't matter because they're saying on or about. So they're kind of covered in their date range. As long as they have a general idea, that's enough. And the date ranges can be really long in certain situations. And then count 5 and count 6 are involving furnishing alcohol to minors. And those are unclassified misdemeanors. And really, no big deal with those. Unclassified misdemeanor, you don't even face jail time on that. You can face a massive fine and a lot of community service. So nobody's really worried about count 5 and 6. It's counts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's get to those. Count 1 and count 2 are really, they're all bad. They're all felonies. But count 1 and count 2 carry a possible prison sentence of 2 to 8 years in prison for each one. Now, I've made the argument before in court defending people with these charges that counts 1 and count 2 merge for the purposes of sentencing, meaning you can only be sentenced once. So instead of possibly facing 16 years, you're only facing 8. There have been times where the court has agreed with me. There's times where the court has not agreed with me. So just worst case scenario right now, he faces 8 plus 8, that's 16. And then count 3 is 18 months. And then count 4 is also 18 months possible as a maximum. Now, counts 3 and 4, there are presumptions for probation. Count 1 and 2, there are presumptions for prison. Very heavy presumptions for prison. With that said, though, I've had a lot of clients. You catch the possession charge, and even though it's an F4, there's a lot of times you're still going to prison because judges don't like that when you have obscene material involving minors in your possession, regardless of how you got it. It's just never a good look. And if those of you who aren't from Ohio, sentencing is done by a judge. Juries do not do a sentencing for this type of crime in Ohio. Death penalty, obviously, yes, that's a separate thing here. But when it comes to these types of crimes, the judge handles the sentencing. Now, getting back to these offenses, what do we know about them? What can I look at from this indictment alone that could tell me some things? Well, one of the first things is everything occurred about 6 months ago. And that means at some point in the past 6 months, the police started an investigation. I don't know if it was exactly February 6th or not. We don't know. But sometime since then, they've been investigating. And we know that because there was no case in the municipal court level for a preliminary hearing. This was what's called a direct indictment. The police came to the prosecutor got the grand jury together, and they indicted him. So that tells us a lot that this has been percolating for a little bit. And also some statements from Bob Vogle, which we'll get to that in a second, also indicate this has been percolating for a little while. Now, where is Bob Vogle right now? Well, Bob is no longer in the county jail. He was able to bond out yesterday, and we know that because he had his arraignment yesterday. His arraignment occurred. He pled not guilty. He had to post a $250,000 bond, cash surety or 10%. He posted 10%. And he was allowed to leave. He bonded out. And right now he's out out on the street. So that's what we know right now. And you guys can find that out by looking up the docket entries, but I'm going to post them here so you can see it. Now, what do we do from here? Well, one of the things you don't do, and this is something Bob Vogle did, and I still can't believe that he did this, is leaving up a statement. And I get that you want to talk, and I would like to think that his attorney didn't do this and didn't choose to do this for him, and that he did this of his own accord, but you don't know. I would like to think so because there's no way as a defense attorney I would ever counsel a statement, and if I did, it would be very, very short and concise. This thing here, whoa, child. This tells us a lot. It tells us a lot of things, and it does some things here that I think give Bob some problems. And I'm going to put it up, and we'll read it here. So here's what Robert Vogel said. This was put on Facebook. From what I understand, this is his actual account. Nobody's denied it and said this hasn't happened yet from him. But here's what he says. With all the talk and speculation about me, I feel now I really need to make a statement. And he says, 7, 8 months ago, I met a girl on a dating website who presented herself as 19 years old and stated numerous times she was 19. A lot of proof here. Now, is that really a lot of proof for just saying she's 19? No. The bigger thing is in Ohio, mistake of age is not a defense in Ohio. So you're already not looking good here. Like, how did she said she was 19 on Tinder there, buddy? That's not enough. Anyway, there are some states where you can do mistake of age or that they intentionally misled you, but that's not looking good here, man. But let's continue with what he says. I simply believed her and took her at her word, which once again, that makes you look really bad because now you're basically just saying, I didn't even bother to check. I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't do any homework on this. It makes you look sloppy and you just wanted to whiff of some 19-year-old puss and you didn't care that it might be jailbait. You're just like, close enough. She said it was good and she, trust me, bro, and you trusted her. Once again, that doesn't make you look good. This is a statement that can be used against you. But let's keep going. We went out a few different times and had fun. We did normal things two people do. And after this, an odd situation happened where she got in a fight with her friend and police were called. During this, I learned from the authorities she was actually 17. I was shocked. Yes, I'm sure there was a shocked Pikachu face there, Bob. But once again, you were fucking around, and now you're like, well, who could have foreseen this? More importantly, you are a former police officer. Did it not fucking occur to you that this is a dangerous trap to run into? I mean, come on, man. Come on. But it's this next post that gets really sus. This next comment is really, 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 really sus, in my opinion. In the process, my phone was taken and I never saw the girl again. Now, what does that say? Well, it says a bunch of things. It says at some point Bob knew the police had taken his phone. And I'm sure he sat down with an attorney. I hope he did. And said the police took my phone. And oh yeah, I was with this girl. I thought she was 19, but it turns out she was 17. Now, here's some things for Bob that are, okay. The age of consent in Ohio is 16. So he's safe there. But here's the problem. You can have sex with a 16-year-old, but you can't have nudes of them because now that's obscenities involving a minor. So what happened? I'm sure she sent him titty pics or he snapped pics of them getting it on and bumping uglies. Well, guess what? That's what it sounds like based on what he's saying. And I'm sure he got her alcohol because, hey, it's my hot young girlfriend and we're gonna fuck and suck and I'm gonna buy drinks and all this shit. So does that make sense with what's here? Yes. Now, what I had told people before we learned that Bob's excuses of their ages, I said, regardless of what's happened, it sounds like he gave alcohol to minors and then filmed them nude at some point, which I know you're like thinking, well, Sean, that was really great detective work. I mean, yes, but I was pretty much right. He'd been fucking around with some minors and some alcohol was involved. Now, could I see this idea of the two girls fighting and the police get involved? Yeah. But still, why would they take your phone unless you did something or said something? So once again, don't talk to the cops. And remember, guys, this thing is a tattle machine. This will tell on you in so many ways, especially if you think with your dick. But let's get back to what the rest of Bob said here on Facebook. Over 6 months went by without a word, and then out of nowhere they came in. I was arrested. Looking back, obviously, I wish I never had entered the situation. I do feel, though, I was not just mistaken, but I was purposely deceived about the age gap that separates a normal activity from an activity that's highly illegal. I take responsibility for the situation I am in and realize that many hold that against me or have some moral problem with it. But I do not feel committed to any crime and have a clear conscience about the single incident this is all about. Is that really what you want to say? I take full responsibility, but fuck y'all, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't think that's a very good look. God forbid this goes to trial. This is going to be used against you. But let's keep going because I'm sure Bob will fix this and turn the ship around. I have learned more than ever the law is very much a game through and often a play on words. Bro, you were a fucking cop for like 10 years. How did you not figure this shit out? I mean, really, come on now. Come on now, man. Ain't your first fucking day on the job. You know. You know. My hope is that it comes down to a little more common sense and gut feeling. This has been without question the biggest nightmare situation in my life. There are, of course, more details, but no one will find anything I said here to not be true. And those are the main points I feel. There will always be a lot of haters, but with so many meaning headlines and gossip, I had to make this statement. Did you really have to make this statement as in depth as you did and the way you did it? No. Could you have said something a little different? I bet you could have, because certainly people would find out in discovery. They would get police reports. They could find out a lot of things without you having to talk about it and put words down on paper that can be used against you later, God forbid. This was entirely unnecessary. It could have been workshopped a lot better. I mean, I hope to God his attorney didn't read this and say, yeah, send it. This is awful. This is awful. This is not good. But once again, I don't know why he did it. I don't know why he did it. But I get it. I get it. He found a chance to get a sniff of some, hot young trim and, it came over him. And this is why you don't do that shit. This is why you don't play those games. Because these games are very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So what's going to happen from here? I don't know. remember, the age is not the mistake of age is not a defense in Ohio. Um, maybe you'll get a jury to be sympathetic and nullify a case, sure. Maybe a prosecutor will agree it's kind of bullshit. Although in this situation, I don't think so because the prosecutor has probably been advised of this. It's been an ongoing investigation. I mean, guys, Augalaize County is not very big. I mean, population of Augalaize County is really quick here. Population of Augalaize County, Ohio is 45,000 people, almost 46,000. And I will tell you, because I worked not there, but I worked in southwestern Ohio in a prosecutor's office that was about 43,000 people in the county. An investigation like this is good. Like those guys clue in the prosecutor's office, like, hey, here's what we're working on. What do we need to do to shore it up? So I'm sure the prosecutor's been looking at this from the start. Now, what does that mean? I don't think Bob is telling us the full story here. Things aren't adding up all the way. Like, how did they get your phone? Why did they get your phone? If these are two drunk, dumb bitches fighting outside somewhere, why are you involved in that? We'll find out. We'll find out more as it goes. But once again, I mean, obviously, he's telling us what he can to put himself in a good light, but some of it doesn't add up. There's more things that don't add up to me, but I'm going to leave those be for now because I don't wish to cause more things to be said out there without verifying it and confirming it. But I assume we'll get police reports and things that will tell us a lot. And I can later tell you if I can confirm my thoughts on those. But this ultimately is something I don't think the prosecutor is going to change his mind and say, yeah, fuck it. You know, those bitches lie all the time. No, they've been about this. They put it together. They went through with it. So I don't see what he's going to get a reduction on. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's some search warrant issues, suppression issues. We don't know yet, and time will tell. Time will tell. So that is it for this right now, guys. I hope this gives you kind of a quick rundown on Bob Vogle. And if you guys have any questions, please comments below. Definitely try to answer them. If there's updates to this, certainly I'm going to be covering this as it goes. And like I said, will I go there? If there's something big happening, sure, I'll make the drive, but I'm not going to drive 3 hours just for a pretrial. So, guys, with that said, please like, share, subscribe, and remember until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Even though Bob Vogle is a dumb fuck and came out and admitted it. Remember, guys, do not talk to the press. Do not talk to the cops. But for right now, he's not guilty, but I don't know how long that's going to hold out. We'll see. We'll see.